Well, welcome everyone to SEO and Content Conversations. I'm your host, Will Martin, known across social media as Hey It's Will, the SEO guy, the content marketing guy, whatever you call me. Here I am. And I'm here today to walk through some current SEO news and trends and give you some strategy tips to help you grow your business or grow your content marketing channels. So that's what we're going to do today. And first things first, we've got to address the high search ranking volatility right now. Apparently, the buzz all across the internet, and I can confirm, is that search rankings are all over the place right now. I think according to SEMrush, the volatility is an 8.0 out of 10, which is obviously very high compared to yesterday when it was 3.1. So what that means is that your rankings may be all over the place right now. So you might want to check on those, see if anything wonky is going on. But the consensus and the kind of buzz around the industry is that this is part of an unconfirmed giant Google algorithm update that they're rolling out. So if you know anything about Google algorithm updates, you know that they can just roll them out whenever they want without any warning. And so it seems to be one of two things is happening. Either it's an update or it's a glitch. We've had a few glitches in the past 6 months. One back in December, that Google claimed was a glitch, but it might have been a failed update. But it appears that something like that is going on right now. And volatility started being reported yesterday, which was February 8th, by a lot of SEOs across the internet. I'm looking at an article on Search Engine Roundtable, seroundtable.com, which is a really great source if you want to keep up with algorithm updates and search ranking volatility and stuff like that. They're usually pretty on top of that, and they do a really good job of curating from across SEO message boards and things like that what a lot of SEO professionals are saying. So this is an article pulled together by Barry Schwartz at Search Engine Roundtable that was posted this morning around 8:11, and he says there seems to be some early signs of a big algorithm update that's rolling out. He's quoting some people pulling from some message boards. People are saying that starting back on Sunday at around 11:30 a.m. Central Time, this person's organic search visits dropped 30 to 40%, which is obviously not normal. It's pretty substantial. One person noted that their traffic was actually up by 30%, but their revenue, their conversions were down by 40%, meaning that irrelevant traffic is coming to their site. So that's not what you want. You want the rankings that are going to bring your target audience to your site. And so sometimes with these search updates and rankings volatility, you can start attracting the wrong audience. So, like with any Google update, any algorithm change or shift, you really kind of have to wait and monitor it a little bit. So if you're noticing some volatility in your rankings, hold tight for a couple of days. A lot of times these things will just correct themselves, and that is how it resolves. But sometimes some of these changes will linger for a while. So if you still notice some shifts in your algorithm or in your rankings after about four days or so, then it may be time to go to the drawing board, look and try to find something to do for that. But so just keeping you in the loop with that apparently a Google algorithm update seems to be rolling out. So check your rankings, make sure that everything is good. And if you notice any big shifts, that's probably why. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. As I said, go reference seroundtable.com, Search Engine Roundtable, and they usually stay on top of it and provide a lot of updates. So moving on with some other trends and news in the SEO world. I talked about this a little bit on TikTok this week, but John Mueller, who works at Google, has come out and confirmed something that I kind of suspected for a while. And that is with regards to duplicate content. He says that duplicate content is not a negative ranking factor. And so let me unpack this for a little bit, because this has been one of those kind of fear-mongering things that have gone around in the SEO world, and people who have, kind of basic knowledge of SEO that they always warn against. And I've been a little wary of it because I've worked on several websites that did have duplicate content, and I didn't really see any negative effect of that. So it's one of those things that I've always kind of been suspicious that wasn't really a huge ranking factor, but now it seems to be confirmed by Google, John Mueller at Google. So this is from Search Engine Journal, so searchenginejournal.com, an article from Matt Southern, who's talking about Google's John Mueller, who was talking about this very topic in this week's Google Search Central SEO Office Hours broadcast. And so he clarified a misconception about duplicate content, saying that it's not a negative ranking factor. Having the same content repeated across multiple pages is not something that would cause you to rank lower in search results. So again, this is something that I've heard a lot, and people have, raised red flags about this and said, oh, you can't have duplicate content across your site. You can't have, even like product descriptions. If you have an e-com site, you got to make all of them unique. And this kind of confirms what I had suspected, which is that's just not true. He even goes on to say, it's not a negative ranking factor because there's many instances where you have to have duplicate content, right? Like, especially like I just mentioned, if you have an e-commerce site, you need duplicate content. You might have several products that are similar, and you don't want to have to reinvent the wheel every time you write that product description. You want to be able to, copy and paste some of that information and convey the same message because those products are related, right? As I suspected, this is not a negative ranking factor. One of the things I do want to clarify is that this does not apply to plagiarism. And I clarified this over on TikTok this week, but I had a few comments and a few people reaching out to me that had interpreted this headline that I shared about duplicate content as meaning that you wouldn't get docked for your search rankings for plagiarizing content. That is not true. That is not duplicate content. That is plagiarism, which is just morally and ethically wrong, but it's also terrible for your SEO. So again, this doesn't apply to plagiarism. This applies to duplicate content that appears multiple places on your site, like a product description, as I just mentioned, that may appear in several places. Maybe you've got blocks of information that talk about your products or your services, and that needs to appear across duplicate places. That is okay for SEO. So now we have that confirmed that you don't need to worry about if you have duplicate content across your site. So if you have any questions or if you guys have any insight about that, maybe you've got duplicate content across your site, you've been worried about it. Hopefully this frees you up to know that that's not going to be a negative ranking factor for you. And I will clarify further and say that I would advise against like duplicating entire pages of content. And I don't know if that's what Mueller's referring to here, if he would go that far as to say that that's not a negative ranking factor. I wouldn't say that it would be as much a negative ranking factor as it would a keyword cannibalization issue where you've got two pages with the exact same content that are ultimately going to be competing for the same keyword ranking, which is not something that you want when you are doing SEO. So again, plagiarism and entire duplicated pages of content that are just under different URLs, those are the two things I would advise staying away from. But if you've got blocks of content about your products, about your services that are copied and pasted and appear in multiple places across your site, it's totally fine. It's not an issue for SEO, and that's been confirmed this week from John Mueller. All right, so let's move on to our next story. And apparently Google has rolled out a new feature on their mobile search. And I'm not sure if this has gotten to desktop yet. I know for sure it's rolling out on mobile, and this may be part of this new update that they're rolling out that's creating some search volatility, but it's called the About This result feature. And essentially it's like a little pop-up that tells you about each search result. So the search results show up and there's three little dots like we're used to over on the side. And if you tap on that, a little box pops up at the bottom and tells you about that website. And so it's a way to kind of vet sources. It's a way to learn more before you really click on a result, which is really interesting. And I think this is an effort on Google's part to be more transparent about the sources of this information. I know in the past few years, fake news, all this stuff has been very trendy to talk about. And so there's been tons of volatility always in the news space. So I think they're trying to go the extra mile and give you some insight on the sources of the search result links before you actually click on them. So the question becomes, what does this mean for your SEO? Is this going to hurt your click-through rate? Is this going to be something that's going to cause more zero-click searches because people are not going to click on any results? Ultimately, this is still in beta testing for Google, so it hasn't rolled out for everyone. So you may not see this on your Google search results right now. But I think ultimately the idea here and what this means for your SEO is that you've got to make sure that you're established as best you can be across the internet so that there's valuable places where people can get information about you. So obviously the first place is going to be your website. So making sure that you have a website that is accurate, it's trustworthy, that you accurately explain who you are and what you do, and that Google can easily go pull that so that, when they roll this out on a larger scale and one of your search results comes up in Google and someone clicks on about this result, they've got accurate and useful information about your website. I mean, they're obviously going to go also to sources like Wikipedia, your Google My Business listing. They're going to pull from all this stuff, not just the stuff on your website. But first and foremost, you want to make sure that your website is descriptive when talking about your business, that there's a robust kind of about section where people can go learn about your business, where you came from, what you do, so that Google is then really armed with the information to put in that about this result feature. But ultimately, this is super interesting. I'm fascinated to see how this rolls out, how quickly we're going to start seeing it on more search results pages. And if you want to see what that looks like, you can head over to searchengineland.com. And it's one of the top articles from today. Actually, it was posted on February 1st, so it's a few days back. But you can go check that out. The headline is Google Search launches about this result feature, and you can see a little animated GIF of what it actually looks like. So it's really fascinating, but it's something to keep an eye on if you're monitoring your SEO to see, if that starts rolling out to you and to your site, making sure that that information is accurate, it's factual, and that it's the information that you want people to actually see when they're learning, about your website. All right, cool. So last little piece of news and information is also about Google. It also comes from John Mueller, no doubt from his actually, this one came from the Google Search Central SEO Hangout that was recorded on February 5th. And he's talking to blog writers, to people who run a blog. And this is a really interesting thought. And it's something that honestly, as an SEO professional, I haven't given a lot of thought to. So it's something good to kind of put in your back pocket, good information to have in your mind. But he advises website owners that removing all comments from a website may adversely impact search rankings. So if you have a blog and you've got comments enabled and you've got, people commenting, even if it's just a few, and then, one day, because maybe there's some spam or maybe you've got some trolls that are disagreeing with you and causing a ruckus on your blog, you go on and decide to just disable comments, delete all the comments that are on there. This apparently is something that can reflect poorly on your SEO. It can have negative effects for your SEO. And so John Mueller advises against this. It was a question that was submitted by somebody asking whether blog comments are factored into search rankings. And his answer was yes, Google does factor the comments into the search rankings. And no, it's unlikely comments can be removed from a site without impacting its rankings. So it's just an interesting thought. So if you've got a blog and you've got a comment section, even if you've only got a few comments, do what you can to maintain that comment section, encourage comments, because they can have a positive impact on your search rankings. But as we've learned here from John Mueller, if you change your mind, flip the script, and go decide you don't want comments anymore, or you go through and you're constantly deleting comments that you don't like, that could reflect poorly for your SEO, and you could actually experience some rankings decrease from that. So super interesting stuff. If you have a blog, if you have a blog, I'd love to hear from you. Do you have comments enabled? Do you have an active comment section? A lot of the blogs I've worked on don't encourage comments, which I think is kind of the safe route to go. But if you have a blog that gets a lot of traffic and that people may have a lot to contribute to that, it could actually boost your SEO to enable those comments and allow people to, submit user-generated content. Again, you just got to monitor that and make sure it doesn't get spammy. There's no malware, anything like that people are posting. You can delete those. Obviously, you want to delete those. But I think what he's talking about here is more an issue of like deleting all your comments. So if you've already experienced some SEO boost from people commenting on your posts and then suddenly there's 0 comments, he's saying that, Google's going to see that as a drop, and they're gonna dock you in rankings for that. So just cool information to have. If you've got any comments or thoughts about that, let me know. So let's move into some strategy tips for the week. So one of the things that I have talked a little bit about on TikTok this week, besides the duplicate content issue, is a new tool that I've found, and it has been helping me do Instagram hashtag research, which is something that I loathe. I already don't like typing on my phone. I already suck at it. So to sit there and to type in my caption in Instagram and then to start trying to find 30 hashtags, typing them in one at a time, looking at their volume, looking at all that stuff is just maddening for me. So I've tried a few different tools, and typically they all want to charge me money after a few days, which honestly, I want to have the right hashtags, but not so much that I want to pay somebody to help me have them right now. So I found a free tool this week. It's called Neon Tools. I had seen some people posting about this on TikTok, and this is why TikTok is the greatest place on earth to grow your business and to get tips and strategy recommendations, because there's so many people on TikTok that are sharing useful links. They're sharing shortcuts and tips and tricks to really market your business. But I had seen several people post about this, and I finally went and tried it. You can find it at neontools.io. And they've got a slew of free tools on here. I don't know if you've tried this yet, but they've got a neon.ly, which is where you can create those shortened links. So sort of like Bitly, but it's neon.ly. And so you can create custom links and you can actually track them. So if you want to put a different link in each of your social profiles so that you can have a quick place to come track, how people are getting to your website, which network they're coming from, you can set up neon links for that, and this is free. It's another thing that I'd tried Bitly for a while, but after a certain point they want to charge you for it, or they want to not give you all the features. So that's one of the features on there. There's also neon.link, which helps you build a custom little landing page, so similar to a Linktree page. So if you want to have a link tree to put in your profile, but you don't want to use Linktree or one of the other ones, you can do that through here as well. They've got Instaboard, which is a way to audit and sort Instagram accounts. I haven't used this one yet, but it says gather analytical data about Instagram users and group them after you or your client's needs. So another cool, useful Instagram feature. But what I have really gotten into is this hashtag analyzer for Instagram, because we all kind of know the best practices, right, for hashtags, where you can have up to 30 hashtags. There's certain strategies for, how much search volume you want to target, the high volume ones, and then some niched ones and stuff like that. And this is one of the better hashtag analyzers that I've seen. So you put in just a broad hashtag. So, if I put in search engine optimization, I go in there and it's going to give me a ton of related hashtags, and it's going to actually group them in the like high volume, the, moderate volume, and then the niched ones, so that I can go through and create a list and save it of 30, hashtags that go kind of across the board, because you do want to have a mixture of those hashtags. And so again, this is completely free. There's not even like a premium membership, I don't think. If there is, they're not like beating me over the head with it like a lot of tools do. So I've used this almost every day for the past probably week and a half, just coming and creating hashtag lists, any post that I do on Instagram, trying to make it relevant to that. So if I post about Pinterest, I go find, hashtags related to Pinterest and Pinterest Manager. If I'm posting about SEO, obviously SEO stuff, I'm posting about general marketing. So I've already created 3 or 4 hashtag lists, and it's super easy to just go copy and paste it and put it into your post. So they do have a couple other things. They have an interest browser. I haven't gotten into these, but it is for hidden Facebook audiences. So I don't deal directly with Facebook advertising, but if you do, that might be a helpful tool. I've also got a reach calculator to calculate the potential reach of your online ads. UTM generator, which is cool for generating links that can track user behaviors, and then a QR code generator, if you're into that sort of thing. I haven't used a QR code in years, but if QR codes are something that you are into and that you still want to use, you've got a QR code generator too. So lots of useful tools all in one place. That's neontools.io. Go check that out. Completely free. You can start a free account and start utilizing these tools. These are all things that are really, really useful if you have started a business, if you're trying to market yourself online. Again, these are tools that a lot of services charge for these kind of things. So here's a free option for you to try it out and to use it to grow your business. So that's one thing that I've shared this week on TikTok. Another thing that I've talked about is my kind of plea to TikTok to add a feature where you can automatically add captioning to your videos. And I've got a few people watching on TikTok. They'll probably wholeheartedly agree with me here. There needs to be a feature on TikTok when you are creating content where you can just click a button and it'll automatically add captions to your videos. So there's already third-party apps that do this. There's an app that I use called CapCut. If you have an iPhone, there is an app called, I think, Captions for TikTok. There's the Instagram Threads app. And all of these just add an extra step to your content creation. And TikTok is really a platform that is built around the fact and the idea that you can quickly and easily create useful video content that's entertaining, educational, all that good stuff. But the problem is, if you want to add captions, so if you want, so there's several reasons to add captions. First and foremost, you would want to add them for accessibility. So if there's somebody that's hearing impaired, you want the app to be accessible to them, so they may want to watch and read your videos. The second reason is because a lot of people watch without the sound on. They might be in a crowded room. They just, for whatever reason, might not want to turn the sound on their phone. So they're sitting there scrolling TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and they don't have the sound on. So if you don't have the text on the screen, you're not going to reach those people. So this is why captioning is such a popular thing. But for some reason, TikTok is one platform where you just can't automatically add captions yet, which is so surprising to me, as popular as TikTok is, that this has not yet been a feature that they have just made standard. So you have to go in and you have to create your own captions. I see people do it all the time. I do it all the time, where you go in and you type a block of text and you set the duration and you have it show up while you're saying it. And it's like manually creating your captions. And I mean, this can take, depending on your skill level, when it comes to creating video content, this can take, 15, 20 minutes, depending on how long your video is. And it's just an unnecessary added step. So that's my soapbox. But basically, I kind of made a plea on TikTok because I'd seen a couple of other creators doing this to, for TikTok to add this feature. Obviously, it's not a hard feature to add because there are third-party apps that are free or cheap that have this automatically. The Threads app from Instagram. You just don't have a lot of control over customizing those captions and how they look. So, I mean, the technology is out there. It seems pretty approachable. And so I'm just hoping TikTok's either got that in the works or they will hear all of us demanding it, and then they'll actually add it. So if that is something that you agree with, head over to my TikTok page. It's tiktok.com. And my username is @heyitswill.com, and go watch a few videos back. I've got one called Dear TikTok, and check that out and share it and comment on it and boost it, because I want to get the word out. I want to let TikTok know this is something that we all want. We're demanding it, and hopefully we can get them to take notice and actually add that. All right. So there's a few other tips that I've added, some that I have kind of repackaged and repurposed, about checking your authority score, some extensions that I really recommend, but definitely go follow me on TikTok if you don't already. As I said, my username is @heyitswill.com. I'm on there doing 2 to 5 SEO tips every day. So quick tips, a lot of them are 15 seconds long, and they're things that are actionable that can actually help you grow your SEO, grow your business. So go follow me over there. I'm also available on Instagram, and my username over there is @heyitswill.seo. I'm also on Twitter @heyitswillseo, one word. And I'm on Facebook. You can like my Facebook page. It's @heyitswill over there too. So be sure to reach out and connect with me. If you're interested in connecting in terms of working with me, you can head over to my website, which is heyitswill.com, and get all the information about my SEO services. You can get a free high-level SEO scan of your website if you want one. And then you can book a free consultation if you want to talk further about it. But I do offer hands-on SEO services as well as one-on-one SEO coaching, and that's a pay per session type thing, so you can check that out and book a session at my website. And I also have my SEO Academy, which I launched back in December. And this is essentially a free social network for business owners, content creators, digital marketers, where I elaborate on a lot of the tips that I share on social media, give some more hands-on step-by-step tutorials. That is, as I said, that's free to join. There is also a paid tier where you can get access to all of my full video courses. So right now I've got 3 video courses up, an SEO 101 video course, a beginner's guide to keyword research course, and then this month I just released a blogging for SEO course. So all of those are super helpful. If you don't want to join the Academy, you can actually also purchase those kind of a la carte, or you can purchase them as a bundle. So go check that out. But yeah, thanks for joining me today for SEO and Content Conversations. Be sure to subscribe, whatever platform that you're listening to this on. Leave a review, share it out, get the word out. And if you want to ask any questions, get in touch with me. You can email me, heyitswill with 1 L @gmail.com. Thank you guys for joining me today for SEO and Content Conversation. I hope this was helpful for you. If you want to get in touch with me, head over to heyitswill.com. I offer full SEO services. I also have an SEO and Content Creator Academy where you can join and become a pro level member and really take advantage of all of my online courses, step-by-step tutorials, all the things that you need to really create an effective SEO and content marketing strategy. So head over to heyitswill.com. You can get a free SEO report, sign up for a free consult, schedule coaching sessions. There's a lot of opportunity over there if you want to dive deeper into SEO and content marketing.